I would also add that because we're not tied to a particular company's portfolio of devices or developments, when we were trying to choose a continuous glucose monitor, we had started doing closed loop using direct glucose measurements. And we
Blood
knew
glucose, yeah.
blood glucose measurements, and we knew we would have to have a CGM. So instead of taking whatever was in our company's pipeline and trying to use that to further our business interests, we did a head-to-head-to-head trial of all of the continuous glucose monitoring technology that was available at the time, which was three different devices. It was a Medtronic device, an Abbott device, and a Dexcom device. And at that time, the Abbott device was head and shoulders better than either of the other two devices. So we took that device and moved it forward. Medtronic is using their own CGM, which didn't happen to be very good.
Yep.
And that's a big disadvantage for them. Then as time moved on, Abbott unfortunately withdrew their sensor from the US market and they couldn't provide us as much support. But all along we'd been testing the next generations of the sensors. So our most recent study, we compared the most recent Medtronic sensor, the Enlight sensor, to the Abbott again as kind of a continuity, and to the Dexcom G4 Platinum. And in this case, it turned out the Dexcom device had now moved forward a lot in terms of its accuracy, and it was even slightly better than the Abbott device. And both of them were still much better than even the most recent Medtronic addition to the field. So again, Medtronic is committed to using their CGM in whatever shape it's in, and we are able to move to the best sensor that's currently available. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a tremendous advantage.
It's true because, as you look at this device before us, I mean, it's a cobbling together of different technologies, an iPhone with a Dexcom CGM with a tandem pump. But what that does for us is it allows us to take the best pieces that are on the table and pull together the best system, the most robust system. And so it's not quite so vertical as the approach that Medtronic takes, which is to do everything in-house with their own technology. Sometimes, good technologies are not right in your own backyard, and you've got to reach out to get them, and that's what we've done. We didn't take on the whole project. We didn't say we're also going to be the experts in continuous monitoring and the experts in infusion, so we would partner, and that, I think, has given us a great deal of advantage.
We didn't have to make a CGM. We just
Right.
had to find the best one. We didn't have to make a insulin pump. We just had to find one that met our needs.
Well, I wouldn't say we did what they couldn't. We did what they wouldn't. And that's a big difference, right? So they have a business model, and that business model did not promote the development of automated glucose control systems as quickly as we have. They weren't. It didn't seem from my look at these various companies, and not just Medtronic. There are other big players out there, right? There's Roche, there's Abbott, there's Johnson & Johnson, and collectively, when you look at the med device industry in the diabetes space, we don't see a lot of innovation coming from these large companies. Essentially, what's happened, if you look at, Medtronic purchased MiniMed for 12 years. The pump didn't change much from what people were using when they acquired MiniMed, and they made business decisions to make devices very similar to what was being made in the late 1999, 2000 when they bought MiniMed. Abbott had a CGM that they purchased from a small company. They since withdrew it from the U.S. market. And you could look at the amount of money that comes in from these devices and conclude that maybe those were smart business decisions given what it was they were set to do. We had a very different objective. We were driven by a couple of things. We were driven by the scientific desire to build a system and test whether it could really automate glucose. I was personally driven by the desire to build something much faster timeline that could serve my kid when he leaves for school, when he goes off to college. So that was really the impetus behind me getting involved. But I think what really you see here is a lot of the innovation in the med device industry is actually coming from, at least in diabetes, is coming from the academic sector. Even some of the continuous glucose monitoring technology that Abbott purchased, that came out as small. That really started at UT Austin, and then it spun out into a small company, which Abbott ultimately acquired. So a lot of the innovation is starting in academia. This is actually not so new what we've done here.